Hey everybody, Dave from How It's Played here with another Pathfinder rule reminder for you, and this time we are talking about natural 20s and whether or not a natural 20 on the die automatically guarantees success or critical success. And the answer to that is no, it actually is not a guarantee of success or critical success. And by extension, a natural 1 is not always a guarantee of failure or critical failure. Now, before I dive into the explanation of this, I do want to say that where combat is concerned, you are probably not going to encounter this particular trick in the rules. As long as you are fighting creatures that are of a similar level, it's so incredibly rare that this would come up in combat for attacks that it's probably fair just to assume a natural 1 is a failure and a natural 20 is a success or a critical success. A little different when it comes to skill checks, which I'll talk about in a second. Typically where you see this happen is going to be where there are very vast differences between your level and the level of the creature that you're battling. So with that out of the way, let's talk about what a natural 20 really means. When you roll a natural 20 on the die, it doesn't mean you automatically succeed or critically succeed or hit or critically hit. What it means is your degree of success is increased by 1 step. So if you were to say you're in a fight and you have a +7 attack bonus, you roll 1d20 +7, you get a 20 on that die, that makes it a total of 27. Now, by the rules, you don't just automatically call that success. You still compare that number to the armor class of what you're fighting. So if you are fighting something that had an armor class of 21, say, well, 27 is greater than 21, so that would normally be a success. But because you rolled a natural 20, it increases success by 1 degree and becomes a critical success. And the same thing with a natural 1. If what you had rolled would normally be considered a success, even with a 1 on the die, then it doesn't become a critical failure. It gets lowered 1 step to being a regular failure. Now again, you're not likely to see this in combat if you're of a similar level of what you're fighting. Where I see it happen somewhat frequently, I guess occasionally, in my games is with skill checks, especially when I have a player who is attempting a skill check that is intended for people who have expert or master level proficiency, and they're just saying, well, you know, no harm, no foul, I'm just going to give it a shot even though I'm only trained or even untrained. Those are situations where even when they roll a 20 on the die and add what little bonus they have, they still might not be able to succeed on that check because their total modified value might still be lower than the DC of what they rolled. So even with a natural 20, if it's still lower than their target number, that would normally be a failure. It becomes a regular success instead of a critical success. But a lot of times, if that total is 10 lower than the target number, even on a natural 20, then that just raises it 1 degree from being a critical failure to just being a normal failure. So that's it in a nutshell. When you roll a natural 20, it is not a guaranteed success or a guaranteed hit or a critical success or critical hit. What it means is you still calculate the hit the same way. You compare the total modified value to the DC of what it's against, and if that number is normally a success, then it raises 1 degree to become a critical success. But if that number is a failure, if it would normally be a failure even on a natural 20, it becomes a regular success, and if that total would be a critical failure, it just becomes a regular failure. As always, I will leave links to relevant topics in the description. If you have any suggestions for future rule reminders, please leave those in the comments. I'll always enjoy seeing those. And as always, I want to make sure I thank everybody who supports me, whether it's through the Patreon or clicking the like button on these videos, leaving comments for the algorithm, sharing these videos with your friends and fellow players. It all adds up and I greatly appreciate it. And with that, thanks for watching, take care, and happy gaming.